Hello, welcome to Empowered Hearts episode 7. So the topic of this episode is going to be called How to Know If You Are an Intuitive. But before we get started, I wanted to reintroduce ourselves because when Krystle and I first started this podcast, we started it on Instagram as lives, and we actually did not transfer all of them over. So our first episode ended up not going through, and you guys maybe have no idea who we are and why we are here on this podcast.
Yeah.
So my name is Morgan. I am an empowerment mentor, and the reason why I stepped into this role is I spent 15 years of my life in active addiction to very heavy substances, and eventually made my way through the addiction and through a mentor, and as regular therapy didn't work for me. And then I learning different alternative tools besides talk therapy and medication and all the things we do, quote unquote, normally, I found alternative ways of healing by learning what my nervous system was, which is like how to be in your parasympathetic nervous system, how to calm anxiety down naturally, how to calm my depression down naturally. And by doing this, I understood why I needed drugs and alcohol to cope. And then when I didn't need didn't need the drugs and alcohol anymore, I was able to focus on moving through my trauma, again, by regulating myself and by having a mentor walk me through life. So this inspired me to it wasn't even just inspiration, it sparked my purpose in me, that if I can heal from addiction, from serious drug and alcohol addiction, and I'm talking I was on oxy, a lot of it, and cocaine and a lot of alcohol. If I can transmute that and deal with my trauma, anybody can. And my gift to this world to help others heal as well. So that's my short story. And let's go to Krystle.
Let's ask you really quickly though, what kind of services do you offer?
So currently I offer one-to-one empowerment sessions, and that is you don't need a commitment. So you'll have to go through an application. We'll see if you're a right fit, and you can do one-offs. So if you're looking for the people that would be right for this would be if you've been trying to get sober and it's kind of working, but kind of not, and you would like to continue growing in this avenue, or you have codependency issues, you're starting to date and you're like, but I don't feel like I'm enough, or you're not dating, you just don't feel like you're enough, and your self-worth, could be better, but you're trying to work on it, but you're not sure which direction to go in, and your life is just not where you want it to be. That you are destined for more, but you're gripping for the wrong things, like alcohol, maybe drugs. It doesn't have to be as intense as my story. I just understand intense stories, right? So anything of that. I also offer one-to-one mentorship, and I am currently in a certification to be offering hypnotherapy, which I'm really passionate about. It's been revolutionary for helping my trauma. So, I also love working with limiting beliefs. So that's be a service I can offer as well. Then we have our podcast.
Yep.
I also offer, if people want to ask questions, I don't mind, I'll write out to them and answer. So yeah, that's it. That's it for right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So
thank you for telling us all about you. You know, I'm obsessed with you, so.
Thank you. So who are you, Krystle, and what
Who am
brought
I?
you to the podcast?
I am a spiritual healer and a mentor as well. I have walked through a lot in my life, and never ever did I think I would be able to heal from the experiences that I have experienced in my life. Now knowing it is 100% possible. So I kind of share the similar want as you do. But I really work well with women and helping women to remember who they are, their birthright, their self-belief and worthiness, and kind of bring them back to their heart when this world like really just wants us to pull right out of it. Um, I offer a wide variety of different healing modalities, from energy healing sessions to I have the one-on-ones like you do. They're called a heart to heart. So it's a phone or Zoom call. I have, what else do I have? Live programs that I'm running. Those are super powerful because they're like a longer term evolution. I find the longer you're in a container, the more evolution you go through. And it's super supportive because it's like constant access and like live support, which is really good. Um, I do channeled energy readings. And I am now currently doing and launching healing transmissions, which is really beautiful.
They are so wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, I've actually been receiving them myself too, and I find them to be super powerful. And I am recently launching a women's container called I Believe in You. And the inspiration behind this was because you and I are both a part of a very powerful container for our business, group of women, but never in my life have I ever felt like I had like belonged to something so powerful. I've never felt so seen, so heard, so understood, so validated. And it has given me so much confidence and self-worth that like I know the potency of a container and what it delivers. And so that was the inspiration behind launching that out into the world. So,
I'm so excited for that. And
yeah, me too. Thank you.
I feel like when you call yourself a spiritual mentor, Krystle really works with energy, and
Mhm.
actually Krystle's healing modalities and psychicness has been actually the inspiration for this podcast today, for this episode. Yet we are both psychic. I don't
Mhm.
work with my psychic gifts. It's not something I felt, it's sort of something I'm just okay with keeping on my own. It's not something I wanted to explore as career wise. Like my main passion is helping people through the thick of their trauma, forget about it and live a life that they're meant to live. Like we don't need to be traumatized our whole life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That to me feels more of a like a pull for me. But Krystle has really used her gifts for her business, and
Mhm.
it is really like I love it. It's
Mhm,
really
me too.
interesting. And yeah, like how do you know if you're an intuitive? How do you know if you're an intuitive? Yes. So let's start with the basic topic. Uh,
Yep.
what does it mean to be psychic? Like, what does that mean? Because people can hear a psychic and they're like, oh, you like look into a crystal ball and you like tarot cards,
Yeah.
bunch of bullshit. But it's really, really the opposite. I mean, you could
Yes.
start tools, but what do you think being psychic means?
This is a multi-layered question, so I'm gonna try my best to like humanize it
Okay.
in a way that's like relatable.
Mhm.
So the psychic for me is tapping into like a higher source.
Mhm.
So there's things in life that you've never studied, right? But you know about it. It's like you were born and you know that like it's your gift.
Yep.
Okay? Psychic ability, that's what it is. It's like there is a bigger knowing outside of your body that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're like, how do I know this information? But you still know it.
Right.
It's like a wide angle knowledge base, I guess. But there's like different layers because it's like feeling and sensation in the body. It's like your intuition, and like we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, well, I would say like being psychic means you're tapped into your sixth sense, meaning
Yep.
like it's not just the physical that we have here. There is
Yep.
like an extra sensory, what would be the word I could use? You have an extra sensory ability, and now there are different ones,
Mm-hmm.
and they are called your clairs. So what is there? There's clair audience, so it's hearing,
Yep.
clair
Buoyant,
clairvoyant, clairsentient.
third eye, feeling. Yeah. Clairsentient feeling.
Yep,
Claircognizant
that's knowing.
comes through as like thoughts. Yeah. Knowing.
So
I
let's
feel
go
like we're
through some
missing
of these.
one.
So let's go through some of these. So clairaudient. So
Mm-hmm.
I do not think I have ever experienced clairaudience. I
Mm-hmm.
think you do, though.
Yep. I do.
So why don't you go into that a little bit?
Clairaudience starts with hearing different tones. It's like you can hear frequencies, like your ear will ring
Okay.
like really loud,
Hmm.
right? Or you'll feel like pressure change in your ears. It's like
Okay.
all of a sudden, like your ear will feel like it's kind of went underwater.
Oh,
This
wow.
is kind
I,
of like the
I have not
beginning.
experienced that.
Have you ever had like your ear ring?
Not
Like
really.
it's
I mean, maybe, but
really?
not really. No, I'm clair cognizant, so I just know.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah, yeah.
I will be able to literally tell you something that's going to happen, and it does. So
Yep.
that's how mine works. But I do know with clairaudient, like some people do say that they hear, this is going to sound a little bit crazy, and that's okay, but they hear themselves talking to them. Like you can hear
Yeah.
yourself, you hear like messages come through your ears, but it's
Yep.
your own voice.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't know. I haven't experienced it, so
Mhm.
we're gonna have to hear it from your experiences.
I experience that all the time.
Okay.
It's
So
like
this give us an example.
they come through as like phrases.
Okay.
It's not a question, it's more of like a statement.
Okay, so when would this happen?
It can happen at any point of the day.
Okay, so
Like,
give me an example. When would a clairaudient message come through and what would it sound like?
okay, so let's say I'm at the grocery store. I use these examples all the time because it's literally this is how it goes. And my human knows that we don't need dish soap because I last time I looked there was a half a bottle underneath the counter. And I hear you should grab a dish soap. And I'll think to myself, that's silly. Like I don't need dish soap. And
Okay.
then I'll come home and Bella took the dish soap out on the trampoline, used the entire bottle, and I have no dish soap.
Really?
I'm serious.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And like you have control over it. Like you don't have to be tapped in all day, but I like it.
Mhm.
Like our guides are there to guide us. They are always guiding us if we allow them to, you know, take up space. And so, yeah, like that is very small part, but it's like, I mean, there's again, like this is a really big conversation. So yeah, that's one example.
Okay.
Or songs.
Yeah, I don't experience this. So what do you mean a song?
You will just hear like one line of a song.
Okay, yes, that has happened to me.
Okay, so there's always a meaning in the song,
Yeah. So,
right? It's a message.
but often I find that people's extrasensory, what would you call it? Extrasensory abilities
Yep.
come to us. Let's say if you're somebody who is not trained in this field. So they come to us when we are in a state of flow. So you're
Yep.
not thinking, but you're doing. So like working out, driving, you're kind of distracted.
Yep.
And it's just like,
Yep.
just comes in, right? So for me, yes, it can come in through a song, but for me, it'll be like, like from up. up my crown. Like that's what it feels like. It's like drops in and I'm just like,
Goblin.
there is going to be a car accident in at 2 p.m. Like
Yeah.
that's literally what and I'm like, okay. And it's just like this, it feels like somebody has just told me this information.
Yeah.
My body is preparing to let it happen. It's very
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah.
It happened when I was a kid. Like
Yeah.
this happened. It often does when we're kids, because when we're kids, we don't know the difference of
Mhm.
anything and we're so open. And then as we get older, we close off, we go through painful experiences and our heart closes off and we're like, ooh, this world's kind of shitty. And we, literally do this. And
Yeah.
it's harder for us to be open for these gifts. But when we're kids, yeah, when I was a kid, I remember this is one of the biggest ones that's happened to me. As I was lying in bed, I was woken up out of my sleep, called my mom and was like, Mom, there's going to be a fire. You need and I told her the address. And I was like crying and I was freaking out. My parents were like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason that I was like, you need to turn the TV on. Like I was like, you need to call the police. Like you have to go there and stop this. And then we eventually turned the news on and there had been a fire at that exact address. And it
Yeah.
was like, it was crazy. So I don't know,
Yeah.
that would say that was like the biggest thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
I never went on with my gifts from there, but yeah, that would be an example of Claire,
Cognizant.
because it's a knowing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you really get, so Krystle really gets you're clairvoyant, so
Yeah.
you can see things
Yeah.
very, very distinctly. It happens, comes and goes with me, but
Yeah.
again, like it's not something I practice. So
Yeah.
me and like tell me about that.
So Claire buoyant is your third eye
Mhm.
chakra, and you see images, you see sometimes like it's almost like little clips of movies, like little scenes. I see when I'm doing someone's energy, I will see their chakras, I will see their aura. I can zoom right in to like their eyeball. I can zoom in like to inside their organs. Like it's insane. It's like my consciousness can travel to wherever I allow it to go and I will see it.
That
It's
is,
wild. It sounds so crazy.
no, but it's
I'm
so
not crazy.
cool.
I'm
I
not
wish,
crazy. Oh man.
so
Yeah.
Krystle does energy healing and she does
Mm-hmm.
this she does it distant energy healing. So she will sit
Mm-hmm.
just like we're sitting now,
Yep.
go into a meditation, and then I don't know if you have like a picture of the person or how do you then know, like walk me through what that would look like. So you're going into a meditation to do an energy healing session and then what?
Yeah. So first you have to raise your vibration.
Okay.
So we do that by breath work and in like a meditative state. I drop in really fast. It doesn't take much at all now. And then what I'll do is protect my energy first, open my chakras so that I'm open, and then I will call in using their full name,
Okay.
their energy. They have to like consent. It's not like I'm going to like it's not like I'm gonna like go into your energy and be like, "What's Morgan up to?" Like it's
Yeah.
not like that. Like there has to be like verbal consent, and I call in their energy, and then I don't like initially see the physical body. I see the light body, so I will see all the light, like the aura, the chakras. I can see if I ask for it, I can see like the lymphatic system or the veins. It's like really honestly like it's pretty friggin' amazing actually.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That is really cool. I would love to be able to experience that. I'm sure I know everybody is,
Yes.
we all are psychic.
Yep.
We can be psychic in different ways,
Yep.
but
Yep.
if you work at it, it can be, like some people, let's look at it like going to the gym. Like I
Mm-hmm.
naturally have more muscle on my body. So some people who have a little bit more of like their muscles naturally will build it quicker. And
Yep.
doesn't, but it doesn't mean you won't get there. It just might take a little bit more work.
That is a really good analogy, and it's so true. It's just consistency, you
Yeah.
know? And it's just you have to like they're not gonna show you more than what you're ready to hold. So it's like it comes in like little stages, right?
So funny. So the other day when I was getting my eyebrows done, like dyed, so my my esthetician, her and I, when we met, we're just like, okay, we've met, we are soul sisters from another life. We just
Yep.
know very familiar energy. And she's also very tapped in. And when she was leaning, when she'd come close to me, I was getting these visuals of like, I was like, I just saw bear claws. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like, and then she's like, okay. And then she leaned in again to like do something. And I'm like, now I'm seeing a dragonfly. And she's like, that's my grandpa.
Oh, I
It's like
love
what?
that.
And then I kept seeing things. I saw a tree and then told me a story about a tree and she's like, that's where he was buried or something. And I'm like, I am receiving him
Yeah.
like I am like it's coming right off of your energy. And I
Yeah.
think if some people are, for me, if you're also open
Hmm.
and I wasn't trying to receive, it was easier for me to receive.
Well, and also like I mean, I think people receive all the time, but they just brush it away as like, like imagination
Right.
or like,
Yes.
or
Yes.
just like nothing thoughts, but that's
Right.
not really what is happening.
No.
And like the more that you, like you said, the more you notice it and speak it out, right? And you're like, well, this is actually what I see. It's like the more you get like that external confirmation, and
Yes.
then the stronger it becomes.
Yes. So let's get into talking about the chakras because
Okay.
it's been huge, right, for both of us.
Yeah.
When I found out about the chakras, like I'm a very, very sensitive person, and which we both are,
Mm-hmm.
but it helped me understand why life sometimes can be hard. And it's because I
Mm-hmm.
can feel my energy centers. Like I'm a feeling person. So we have 7 chakras. I think we do have more, but those are our main chakras. Let's just
Yeah.
start. So at the
Yep.
base of our tailbone, we've got our root chakra. Then
Mm-hmm.
when you go one up, you have your sacral,
Mm-hmm.
which is around, I would say,
Like uterus area.
yeah, like below your belly button. And
Yeah.
slight, like just above your belly button, that would be your solar plexus chakra. Then you have your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your third eye, and your crown.
Mm-hmm.
And our lower, so let's talk about like the root chakra. So that's at your base, and that the color of that is red. So
Mm-hmm.
they all have different colors that I don't know how you would say it, but they all have different colors that represent them, right?
Yep.
So the root chakra is red and it represents our, I hope I'm saying this right, like the stability in our
Yep.
body, our connection to this earth.
Yeah.
Um, if this chakra is out of alignment, so if it's spinning the wrong way or you've experienced trauma,
Mm-hmm.
this will be where you need to work on this chakra.
Mm-hmm.
So it can
Mm-hmm.
feel like you have anxiety or depression. If
Mm-hmm.
you have that issue, like that could be your root
Mm-hmm.
chakra that is not in alignment.
Yeah. Fear.
Feel a lot of fear. Uh,
Yeah.
if you feel like there's a symptom with trauma called dissociation. If you feel dissociated, that's your root chakra that doesn't feel safe. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's been a part in life where you have learned that it's not safe to be here. And yeah, so
Yep.
that's the gist of it. So do you have anything to add to that?
I was just gonna add like physical symptoms with the
Oh,
root.
yes.
Like if it's blocked, we can feel lower back pain, hip pain. We can be constipated, bladder issues. Um, that's pretty much it, I would say.
Hemorrhoids.
Hemorrhoids.
Yep.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, and then like the reason where I got into wanting to learn about these things was because I wanted to work through my traumas, and I was like not finding help through
Mhm.
the normal system of life where you get help from your psychiatrist or doctor or whatever. And when I went and I learned about the energy centers, I was able to work on these specific things, and then the result happened to just trickle out of I feel better. I feel
Yeah.
safe in my body. I don't have anxiety. And
Mhm.
so that's just the gist of it from my background. But
Mhm.
so what would be so the sacral is
Yep.
why don't you share about this?
Sacral is your sexual energy or like your creative energy. It's like your feelings. I feel sacral, right? So when your sacral's blocked, and it is orange, the
Okay.
color of your sacral is orange, you will feel like you suppress emotion, you hold it in, you don't know how to allow your feelings to take up space.
Hmm.
You kind of have like a lack of creative spark. It's like no motivation,
Okay.
block sacral. What else? Low sex drive.
Okay.
If you have any like issues with your periods or um what else? I'm thinking of men too, not just women. Yeah, like bladder issues, like a low ache. I always get like a dull ache.
Okay. Well, I would think for men, like obviously having issues with erection would be an issue, but I think also not being able to connect intimately with
Yeah,
some. So
yeah,
yes, you can maybe get off, but it's
yeah.
the intimacy part is sacral. So it's not just about sex, but it's more about like the emotions behind sex. So if you weren't able to like have a partner and feel your feelings of like love and intimacy and like that sense, that would be a block in a man.
Yeah, it's kind of like your feminine energy side, like your inability to be able to allow yourself to express emotion or, like in touch with and not like being like feminine energy, like female, which in this case it would be too, but like your ability to relax and slow down and
Feel, be
yeah, feel.
your feelings, be in yourself, not just doing stuff, but like really
Yeah.
feel like that's a really good example. So, and then we would move up to the solar plexus, and this has been something that I have really had to work on.
Ooh,
So
big
the
one.
solar plexus, the color of that is yellow,
Yep.
and it represents your will, it represents your power, it represents your self-esteem, it
Yep.
represents I
Personality.
personality. I want to say self-worth. I could be adding that in, but I really believe it's like
Mm,
confidence and worthiness that you feel with yourself.
yeah, absolutely.
Being able to own who you are, being
Mm-hmm.
able to be who you are and just own it, like
Yep.
own your power, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, when this is blocked, I mean, this used to be a huge issue for me. It's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you feel like a shell of yourself. And I'm not going to go into physical symptoms. That's more of like your thing. But
Yep.
like kind of feel like mousy. Like if I was to make like a physical expression of it, like you kind of just feel like, oh, like I don't
Make
want,
yourself small.
yeah, you make yourself small. Like I don't want to say too much. And I always say that the solar plexus and the throat are very, very like if you've got a disconnection here, you won't be able to speak up for yourself because you can't own how you feel or about,
Yep.
right? So it's different than the sacral of like feeling your own emotions. This is more about like owning your emotions,
Yep. That is so true.
owning
And
owning yourself.
so some physical symptoms are anxiety.
Okay.
When that solar plexus is blocked, you're going to feel anxiety. Um, a heaviness in your stomach, like just like this, like you swallowed a rock,
Yep.
right? Suppressed appetite.
Okay.
When your solar plexus is open and flowing, you feel hungry.
Okay.
Like there's like a hungriness there, right? But when it's not, it's like you just feel nauseated. Um
I think another one, a good one
Yeah.
that we're experienced is, that feeling of when you kind of feel like you have gas in your stomach and it feels like
Like you have to like burp.
burp, it's like pressure. So
Yeah.
it literally feel like your stomach is pushing out like this.
Yeah.
That uncomfortable feeling of like, it's just uncomfortable.
And like burping is actually a sign of like clearing. So if I'm working on someone's energy and I'm working on their solar plexus, I will burp.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, good. Like it's moving now. Like we've got it moving. But that one for me, honestly, is like the most uncomfortable physically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's move up to the heart. So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, I think more people know about the heart chakra because it's
Mm-hmm.
have our heart and this is where we love. And so this is more of like a thing that people are aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally of that. It's like where you love.
Mm-hmm.
Like
How do
that
you receive love?
receive love, like, because you can be open to loving others, but then not open to loving yourself or receiving love.
Yeah.
Um, love, it's really love. It's really your love.
This is where you would experience grief,
Yes,
right?
hurt.
Sadness.
So if your heart is blocked,
Mm-hmm.
what would be I mean, there are physical symptoms, like
Chest pain,
there's
heart
chest.
palpitations.
Yep. There's also what is that? There's
Feel
literally,
like you're having a heart attack.
but there's literally that disease that you get, like it's called broken heart something,
Mm.
where there's like something where if somebody dies, you can
Yeah.
literally get something called like broken heart syndrome. Don't quote me
Mm.
on what exactly
Okay.
it's called, but it's like your heart is so broken that you can't go on. Like it's an
Yeah,
act. I'm gonna look it up.
I've heard of this because people have like they say that people have died from a broken heart.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me see.
Broken heart syndrome. Here we go. Occurs. So this would be a definite heart chakra symptom. Broken heart syndrome, also known as stress cardiomyopathy, occurs when a person experiences sudden acute stress that can rapidly weaken the heart muscle. And the reason why is because everything is energy, my friends.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's another I have this little chakra wheel.
Oh, cute.
I know it's so fun, but I just wanted to add this in for the heart. So if your heart is out of harmony, you cannot accept love given by others. You look for rewards,
Okay.
like you give to receive, and the love you give is not sincere.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
And
good
then
to know.
let's go to the throat. So,
Light blue,
yeah, blue. Is it bright blue? Oh,
light blue.
and the color for the heart chakra is green. Good.
Yes.
So bright blue.
Mm.
And this you will know if your throat chakra is acting up because you will literally feel like there is a lump in your throat. So
Yeah.
throat is
Like
absolutely,
tightness.
it's like, it is what it is, guys. I mean, everyone, I think we use this so flippantly. It's like, I speak, right? So if you
Hmm.
don't feel comfortable speaking your truth or
Hmm.
your opinion or what you know to be right, if you know
Hmm.
something's going on, you don't speak up for yourself or speak up for
Hmm.
somebody else or just say what's on your heart, worry of judgment, this is
Yep.
what will act up. And it will
Yep.
literally feel like, yeah, like a tightness or a pulling.
Yeah, like this. I just always feel like, like you wanna. It's like there's something stuck.
Yep. Or you'll be clearing your throat a lot. And
Yeah.
sometimes when
Sore
you're
throat.
getting, yeah, sore throat, when you're getting ready to speak up about something, so you've activated your solar plexus and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this thing, your throat can actually like freak out a bit because you're
Yeah.
not speaking that truth.
Yeah.
So, ways to work with this,
Yep.
I find is like literally like this can sound crazy, but it's not, like screaming, like literally
Yeah.
opening your mouth and like
Screaming into a pillow. Yep.
screaming into a pillow or
Yep.
just like making vocal sounds. you want to like get it used to being used in a different way. So instead of
Yes.
like just going along life with how everybody else thinks, you're like, I'm going to do and say what I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to say the
Mhm,
thing that's on my heart and that is scary. I'm going to say it. And
mhm,
because we can be scared. It's like, ooh,
mhm,
I can't.
mhm,
And your muscles will react to this chakra.
mhm.
Just so
Singing's really good.
yep.
And then the other piece I was gonna say is a balanced throat also is listening and
Mm.
not speaking and just being able to receive others. Like when it's balanced, you speak and you listen well.
So would that then, if you interrupt people a lot,
Yeah, that's one.
wow,
Yeah,
I,
which I do.
I do too, but
Yeah,
it,
I don't mean to.
well, it's good that we've talked this out.
Yeah.
What does your wheel say? I'm curious. Does it say anything about this?
Oh, the throat. So, yeah, see, a balance between silence and speech. You know how to listen to your inner voice and trust your intuition.
Okay.
Okay, and then out of harmony, so that is in balance. And then out of balance is fear of being judged, rejected, afraid of silence. Like, you know, when you like go on a date
Yep.
and you're scared that you're not going to have anything to talk about.
Yep.
That's one of them.
So it's like almost being comfortable. And this is why I
Mhm.
connected to the solar plexus, because it's being comfortable with yourself
Yeah,
in a way.
being able to express.
So let's go to the third eye. I'm going to let you steal the floor on this one.
So third eye is a darker blue. This is your knowing. Like this is kind of like where your intuition,
Okay.
you see truth. Um Clairvoyant, your third eye's open. You are, I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to be clairvoyant, but if your third eye's open, you are open to being clairvoyant.
Okay.
Let's look at this.
What would be some problems, I wonder? Maybe not being able to trust your intuition, like not having
Oh
a
yeah,
your intuition.
yeah, you're actually afraid of intuition, but also it is like not being open to anything spiritual or like universal. You rely mainly on science.
Oh,
Hmm. I didn't know that. I'm learning. Look at me learning. But yeah,
huh. So like not having a relationship with God, and it doesn't, and when I say God, I don't mean
just
necessarily
God.
God
Yeah.
through just like a church, through Christianity or etc., but like a higher source, which we can call God, which we can call the universe, which we can call whatever we want, but
Yep.
having a connection to something other than the earth, you know?
Well, and it comes back down to like psychic abilities, right? It's like that knowing that there's something bigger than just our human mind,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So
Uh,
crown.
well, before we go on to that, I saw a documentary last night on Netflix called, I think, The Connected Earth. I think that's what it was called, but it
Mm.
basically showed, it was so fascinating how every little bug, animal, species, like plants, like everything, if one thing wasn't here, how it would throw off this whole earth. It was, and how we are all interconnected, like how when an animal gets eaten and the bones are rotting, and how that is actually nutrients for the earth, and how
Mm.
without, like, we are all in, I don't know where I was going with this, like why I needed to say now, but how we are all like the knowing of that we are all connected, and that everything is connected, and that I think it would be almost, I don't know what the word would be, but it's almost like impossible to believe that humans are we have like the only rights of being here. Like that is such
Yeah.
a silly view of life.
Yeah.
We are not, we are just one small aspect. Like there is so much more going on. And even if you can't get on the board of spirituality or psychicness, like let's just look at how this earth works in harmony so that we all can be here. And so
Yeah, so true.
in the oceans, and it was very fascinating.
I might have to watch
It
that.
was so good. And they would show like the energy of the trees are connected to
Mm.
the soil, and how like if the soil didn't have these bugs, how like the soil wouldn't get proper nutrients to like have the nuts on the trees, to have like the pollinators with the bees. And I was just
What?
like
Your
there's just
mind's blown.
so much going on, and we are all sitting here often being like,
I'm not enough.
Bill or whatever, or like
Yeah.
it just, again, perspective of like there is more going on in this life, even if you don't believe in a higher knowing or a higher power. Just the power of life itself is
Mm.
phenomenal.
That's a conversation for another podcast.
Yes.
The bigness of the universe.
Yeah. we
I
we
can hear the frequency of trees.
Wow.
Doesn't that sound insane?
Yes and no.
I can hear it and I can see the auras
Can you
around.
really?
Yeah, I can.
Phenomenal. I wish I
Yeah. Yeah, I can see people's auras too.
Mhm.
Not all the time, but if I'm like tapped in and I like kind of like do my thing with my eyes, like I'll be able to see. Yeah, it's so cool.
So then the last one would be
Hmm.
crown chakra, and that is lives up here on top of our
Yep.
head.
Yep.
And is that like a purple?
Yes, purple.
Like a bright purple, I believe.
Yeah.
And this is our connection to source,
Yeah.
to something else out there aside from us and aside from Earth. So aside from our bodies, like it is our connection to God, essentially, if you feel
Hmm.
comfortable with that word. But if you don't, you can say source or the universe, like whatever you feel
Hmm.
comfortable with.
Hmm.
Um, what would you say are things that are blockages when your crown chakra is blocked?
Probably like a very small mindset, limited mindset.
Okay,
Um, like not being able to see the or understand like infinite possibility.
right?
Very limiting. Um, oh, what else would I say? I don't know.
But I do know that the phrase for it
Let's
is
look
I,
it up.
right? So the phrase
I
for
understand.
I understand, that's the crown chakra phrase, right?
Yeah, so living with the knowledge of unity, knowing that the self reflects the divine, abandon ego for universal ego. So it's kind of like the wholeness of your soul. Like
Okay,
the understanding that um it's like abundant and the soul is never lack, the soul is whole, like that kind of mindset, I guess, understanding.
so maybe a good example would be somebody with a crown chakra that would be blocked would be somebody who is all ego,
That would make the most sense.
who's all just like
Yeah. Hmm.
very 3D reality, meaning,
Mm.
I get up and I go to work in the morning and I pay my bills, and there is nothing else out there. There is just this, and
Hmm.
everything that I touch and see is the only thing that's real, and not believing in a larger possibility of a higher knowing.
Hmm.
But
You
I
know,
feel as the third eye and the crown have similarities in that sense.
it also says your inability to let go of anxiety and fear,
Okay, so trust.
depression,
Okay.
your lack of being satisfied.
Okay. So I would say trust for sure, like
Yeah.
being able to trust in a higher power.
Yeah.
So just relying base solely on, again, like this
Human.
reality, this 3D reality, that this is
Hmm.
it. And there is never anything that's divinely orchestrating our lives.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interesting. I love this. I love this so much.
Me
So
too.
I just want to quickly share, like, there are so many amazing things about being an intuitive and about being
Mhm.
open, but there can also be some downsides because,
Mhm.
there are always polarities of whatever's going on in life, right? So by having all your energy centers open and by being sensitive, that can be a lot.
Mhm.
It can be draining. It can be
Mhm.
hard to go out, some often with lots of people because you're so open to people's energies and you're connected to what's going on. It can be hard. Being in crowds, that's hard. Sometimes, like, we have a friend that can't go out and eat in public.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it's like crowds of people I can't
Mhm.
handle,
Mhm.
because I do feel everything so deeply that especially if I'm not doing my best, I can't handle people.
Yep, I agree. That's to me kind of falls under clairsentience, which we didn't talk about, but it's like your ability to feel everything around you, other people's emotions, energies. Yeah. And I'm the same. I think that anyone who is very tapped in is probably an introvert.
Yep.
Um, and very clairsentient,
Hmm.
right? Which, like you said, is it comes with like a lot of good, but there are definitely downfalls. I have to be in a good place to be able to go in public as well,
Yes.
you know. So it can look like a lot of like downtime, a lot of isolation, a lot of time spent at home resting and recuperating and um yeah.
Well, I think that this wraps up our episode. This was like, we can
Yeah.
talk about this forever, but we'll just try to
Yeah.
keep this a little bit concise. But this was wonderful. And if anybody has any questions about
Mhm.
energy or um, what it feels like to be intuitive or psychic, like, you can reach out to either of us and
Mhm.
interested in having an energy healing session, like, Krystle is your person.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right.
Wonderful.
Until next time, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.